Chris Andrew here. I edited the film, and thanks so much to Third Eye Festival for screening it. And it's such an honor. It was such a pleasure working with these guys on this amazing track and this incredible footage. So really grateful. I'm a photographer, director, editor, based out of. I grew up in Maine. I'm based out of Chicago, and I work primarily in music. I work with a lot of musicians, music festivals, some labels. A lot of my clients are in the sort of avant-garde jazz realm, but then I've got a lot of clients in punk rock and different types of world music, and like I really. Music's what I'm passionate about, but photography is where I've sort of honed my craft. So I kind of have what I'd like to call an improviser's approach to photography.
I wanted to ask about on railways. I mean, there's two varieties of the video that you kind of cut, and maybe I would love to hear more about your thinking about how did you come up with like the vertical style versus the horizontal, and what was your thinking about that and the format and where you intended it to be shown at?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about the vertical piece, particularly, because I try to, with all the projects, I try to listen to the footage and listen to the music. Obviously, I've been listening to the track a bunch, but then also listen to the footage. And so I kind of went through. She shot a ton.
Yeah.
And when I laid it all out in a timeline, I'm like, okay, well, there's like 11 hours of footage. Like, she shot the entire freaking day, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'm pulling selects. I'm honing in on moments that are special, either special for subject or special for framing or special for lighting. Hopefully for all three, and I'm honing in on these moments, and there's a lot of repetition. But that's the train, right? The train is moving. The train is repetition. The train is a constant. It's in motion, the background, the landscape's changing, but that motion of the train is constant, right? And I think the track references that too, where there's sections of the track and it's like the train gets going, but then there's this like, this fun percussive thing happening. And I'm looking through the footage, I'm like, how do you organize it? How do you parse all this data? How do you like, and in my mind, what I tend to do in the video world, we call it pre-comps. And I'm like, well, what are my pre-comps? What do I do here? And I started thinking like a piano, quarterly, or like, music, the way we interpret music. Typically, you've got the low end, mids, and the highs. And I was like, vertical is always frustrating for a cinematic filmmaker because cinematic shooters, we shoot horizontal. That's how we see. That's how our cameras are made. That's how we've been interpreting the world, both because of our eyes and because of the equipment and the history of film, hundreds of thousands of films. So it's like, whenever you're thinking now, okay, everyone's doing all this vertical content, it's such a shame to, crop all this information out. And these are landscapes. The train's horizontal, the landscape's horizontal. So I'm thinking, what do I do? Because I know we want to have a vertical cut, and I'm like, what if I did low end, which is feet, people's lower bodies, feet. It's the train tracks, it's the wheels of the train. And like, think about also the low end of the song, like cutting it kind of to the lower end of the song. And then mids, that's like the people on the train, the straight out view, a lot of the close-up shots of hands. So mids, I'm thinking more hands. And we were so lucky to get those percussive moments on the train where people are actually playing instruments on the train. And I'm like, wouldn't it be crazy if we could make it look like the instruments on the train are making those noises, like from the track? And I'm like, it might be hokey, it might not work. And then I got it close, and I spent a lot of time speed ramping and trying to sync up and trying to adjust the speed of the footage so that it matches. And I'm like, I got it pretty freaking close. I got it close. So, and if you're a musician and you're like looking to disprove it, you can be like, okay, that's not the same. But I think if you just are viewing it and experiencing the video, it feels like the music on the train is what's happening. And like, so that's the mids. And then the high, I'm looking more for like the sky and the landscape and looking out, like more looking out and getting the sun flares. And so basically I stacked those three. I put the high, mids, and lows and just let it rip. I made 3 separate music videos, 3 separate edits, and I stacked them. And then there were moments where I was like, it's too busy, it's too much. And so in those moments, I picked the dominant force, the piece that's working, and like maybe doubled that or even tripled it, made it all the same. So you just like can like really anchor in on like, this is what's working. Like this is, you know, it was a lot of work. I basically cut 3 music videos and then combined them into one for the horizontal. So in some ways the horizontal is the most refined because it's taking the highs, mids, and lows, merging it all into one. It's really the best of the best. But I'm really fond of the vertical triple stack. So
it turned out beautifully. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, we love it, and I love this explanation because it's so deep and the way you thought about it. It's amazing. I love it.
Well, Chris, we got plenty here. We're going to be showing this at the Third Eye Film Festival, which, by the way, is really symbolic for us because Ameet and I Sadubas was born in San Francisco in a lot of ways. We've been friends a long time, but that city is really important to us.